Alison. I'm the Programs Outreach and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me this evening for another episode of Book Chat. Tonight I am going to talk to you about an autobiography I just finished reading. Lately I have been really interested in celebrity autobiographies. I'm not really sure why, and I'll be honest, I usually am picking up ones by reality TV stars, but for whatever reason I picked this one up and it was very interesting and I really enjoyed it. And that was Trejo, My Life of Crime, Redemption in Hollywood, and this is by Danny Trejo. I didn't know much at all about Danny Trejo before reading this book. I, of course, knew his image. I've seen a couple movies with him in it, and I kind of just knew him as this very intimidating, macho presence that's quiet most of the time, big action figure, you know, very gruff type of guy. So I was really interested to learn more about his life. And some of you might know or may not know, Danny Trejo is a California native and had a pretty rough upbringing. He got involved with drugs and robberies at a very early age and spent his late teens and early 20s incarcerated and in the prison system, staying at San Quentin, Soledad, Folsom, and making the rounds in prison. And this is kind of where he got what would later help him with street cred, but it's also strangely how he got into acting, because he made a lot of connections in prison, and afterwards him and some of his former inmates would go and get jobs as extras, as, you know, inmate number one or whatever kind of rough character they were looking for movies or TV shows. And through networking, that was how he got to the stardom that he has today. What I really enjoyed about this book is that I've read some other celebrity autobiographies where the celebrities make a lot of excuses for themselves and try to paint themselves in the best possible light. It's like they're using their platform, writing the book, as a way to say, no, I'm a perfect person and every bad thing you've heard about me before is wrong, and let me tell you the real story. And what I really respected about Danny Trejo was he didn't make any excuses for himself. He was very upfront about, like, I'm not sure why I did this, or here are the reasons that led up to this. It's not an excuse, but this is what happened. And that's particularly the case in regards to his relationships with women. He just explains the background that he grew up with, and how that impacted him and influenced his relationships with women. And Danny Trejo has had 5 wives, and he goes into details about his relationships, but I really liked that with that particular aspect of his life and with regards to his crime history, he didn't try to pretend like he was a perfect person. He was very upfront with his faults and with his flaws, and I felt like that made his life story a lot more interesting. What I also love about some of these celebrity autobiographies is I love a photo section. So I was really interested in some of these early photos of Danny Trejo. So there he is as a young boy. There's a lot of pictures of his parents. There he is. He did a lot of boxing in prison and out of prison. There are photos of his parents. And it was just really interesting to see pictures of the people that you were hearing the stories of, which I really liked. Here are some pictures of him with one of his wives and his kids. And 2 of the stories that I found most interesting in the book are, as most of you who are familiar with Danny Trejo probably know, he has a very large chest tattoo, which you can kind of see in this picture here. And that was actually, he got that in prison, and he got it at completed over the course of a few different prison stays, because him and the man who gave him the tattoo kept getting transferred. And so he did like the outline in one prison and the shading in another prison and the finish in another prison. And it would just be the guy who was giving him the tattoo was like, just wait for me to finish it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then on the very softer side, there was a very sweet story in here about when his mom died. He was in London filming a Muppets movie, and because of his contract and some other scheduling issues, he wouldn't be able to go immediately back home to California. And he was really distraught about this, but was like, I gotta keep working. So he was trying to buckle down. And one of the rules that Henson Productions has for their puppeteers who are doing the Muppets is that they have to stay in character at all times, whether they're filming currently or not. And Trejo says in the book, and I watched an interview later where he told the same story, that the puppeteer who was doing Kermit came up to him with Kermit and made Kermit say, in Kermit's voice, "I'm sorry your mommy died, Danny." And that really touched him and really hit home for him, and he had to excuse himself to his trailer for a little while to compose himself because he was so emotional by it. And I thought that was really interesting, because I've never thought of Danny Trejo as anybody except this really rough, tough guy. So it was really nice to hear some stories that showed the softer side of him and rounded him out as a person. So if you have any interest at all in Danny Trejo, or are just interested in learning about somebody who has a very interesting backstory, then I would recommend checking out his autobiography. We have it in our collection. If you've read anything lately that you'd like to recommend, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.